Okay, in this one we just looked at, how to declare a function, uh, how to give functions arguments, and then how to return values when you execute a function. Um, Now I'd like to show you something that is very important in programming called conditional branching. So we can make programs do different things depending on what you input. So I could say, let's get a input from the user, and then once we get that input, we're going to do different things depending on what the user enters. And for that, I can use an if statement. If statements will have an argument and then something that happens afterwards. So I could say if input is greater than 10, then we're going to do something. I should do that as I said I would. So if the input is greater than 10, what are we going to do? We're going to console.log and say that's a big one. And otherwise, what do we do if it's not bigger than 10? Well, that's where we use an else statement. And what happens if it's not greater than 10? We'll say console.log that's not so big. There we go. So let's try that. If I run that, pick a number, 5. It responds, that's not so big. But if I run it again and I choose 15, it'll say that's a big one. So that's what we call a conditional statement. Pretty nice. We can have programs respond and behave differently depending on what's going on, either from the user's input or from things that are happening in the development of the program. We haven't really gotten into programs that take more than a couple seconds to run, but for a program that runs and runs and runs and just continues and the state of things keeps evolving, when certain things get triggered, things like these if statements, these conditional branching. We mean conditional because it depends on, it's conditional based on what the value of input is. It will do different things. And we call these two separate possibilities branches. So we call this conditional branching, if that makes any sense. So one thing I want to point out or highlight here is that we have different sort of comparators that go here. Ultimately, we would call so variables that have values that are either true. If it's true, it always does this. So I run it, pick a number. So in this case, it doesn't matter what number I pick because it's always going to do, because I put true in here, if this thing is true, well, true is always true. So it's always going to do, it's a big one. So even if I do -10, that's a big one. It's always going to say that that's a big one. So if the value is true here, it does the if thing. But if the value is false, it'll do the other one. So let's try 1,000. That's not so big because it's no longer checking input. It's just always false, so it's always going here. So, but I can put things that we would call a comparator, which means I can put checks in here, things that check things, and they will return true or false depending on if the check works. So is input equal to, and remember, 1 equal sign is the assignment operator, but if you use 2 equal signs, you will check. It's an equation. It kind of checks to see if the left and the right are the same. If they are the same, let's say we're checking to see if it's 10. If I do input a 10, then this becomes true. Let me show you that real quick. So I'm going to Control X on that and show you. I'm just going to say console.log. I'm going to get rid of this too. Console.log. Let's try some stuff in here. 10 double equals 5. So what happens if I run that? False. 10 is not equal to 5. But what if I say 10 is equal to 10? True. So this is a way that you can check if the left-hand side is equal to the right-hand side, which oftentimes the left-hand side is a variable. So I can check to see if var is equal to 10. I'm sorry, if x is equal to 10. Is x equal to 10? Yes, true. Is x equal to 5 or 2? Should say false, yeah. There we go. Well, what if I want to check to see if it's not equal to 2? Well, for that, I would put an exclamation point. I'd do right before the equal sign. Is x not equal to 2? True, because x is 10. It's not equal to 2. So it checks out. Okay, well, is x not equal to 10? False. The statement that x is not equal to 10 is not true. So it returns false, because it is equal to 10. So we've got, how do you check if something is equal? How do you check if something is not equal? That's what that stands for, not equal. Just to say a little bit more about the not statement, if I have, you can use the exclamation point to say not true. So it flips it. Whatever this is, it'll flip it. So console.log not true, that means false. Console.log not false, that equals, really? Let's see, what if I do this? Okay, that's confusing me. I thought that would make true. I don't know about that one. But let's put in some other things. So like, is x equal to 10? That should make true, but if I put the not in there, it should end up giving me false. So it does say false. Is x equal to 10? Yes, it is. True. But then this flips it. This is like not. So it's kind of like the same as I put it here. Is x greater than 3 or 63? Sure. It's false. X is not greater than 63. But the not operator flips it, so it makes it true. So that's one way that you can use this not. It can flip things. Let's see. So if I didn't put that and I ran it, it would say false. 10 is not greater than 63. Is 10 greater than 10? It's not greater than 10, so it should be false. Is 10 greater than or equal to 10? It is equal to 10, so it does check out. You know, it is greater than or it's equal to 10, so that works. You can do less than or equal to. You just put the equal right after the operator, no spaces, but you can do that. What are some other ones? You can do that with strings. So is x equal to, I can't do greater than if it's not a number. I gotta do double equals. Is x equal to cat? Well, if I put in a string, dog, is x equal to cat? I should get a false. But what if I type cat in here? Cart. Now it should say true. So you can check to see if things match using these comparators. You can put little mathematical things in here if you're working with numbers. Or you can put in, just check if it's the same by using double equals, even if you're working with text, even if you're working with strings. So let's combine that with what we saw with conditional branching. So I don't think I need this. I'm going to bring back what I had. So I'll call this, we'll just go with x. Stop it. Okay. So x is cat. Or let's make x a number. 10. If x is equal to 10, say, you guessed it. And if else, let's put another conditional branch in here. Let's say if x is less than or greater than 10, we'll say console.log too high. Else, so you didn't get it, it's not 10, But if your number is bigger than 10, you're too high. Or else, if your number is less than 10, if you're not equal and you're not greater, then else means you're less than. So I can say console.log too low. And so I've got a conditional branching in here that happens if you don't guess the number right on the nose. And the whole thing is a conditional branching. So do you guess the number right on the nose? Do this. If you didn't get it quite right, are you above it? Then do this. If neither of those things happen, then you must be below it. So then do this. Hey. Okay, I got interrupted. But anyway, you can see that you've got your branching. You can use if and else statements. One more slightly more complicated thing I'll do real quick. You can do the same type of thing that I just did, but you can use an if x is equal to 10. Let's do that. Well, let's put something there. Console.log. You got it. Then we can say else if. So we can put another condition in the same little branching statement. Else if x is equal, let's say if x is greater than 10, you're too high. And then the else will be if neither of those is true, which means that you're below it. You're too low. And I gotta console.log these. And that'll work too. So if I run it, I got it right on the nose. If I go a little low, you're too low. If I go a little high, you're too high. So this is called conditional branching. You can make different branches depending on whether or not it satisfies or doesn't satisfy a condition. And you've got a variety of conditionals that you can use to check the value of your inputs or the state of a variable in your code or in your program. I hope that makes sense.